Mic check. Hey, good morning. Welcome to my channel, Awakenings. I'm Anshanae, and I figured, to hell with the video intro, whatever. I had thought for weeks about how I was going to introduce myself to the world and this channel, Awakenings. And you know what? I'm going to do it the best way I know how, which is starting with my daily struggle of putting on my makeup and trying to see at the same time and just going from there. So this is a channel where I share stories. I am midlife, mid-age, middle-aged, whatever. Not a crisis, but an awakening. Therefore, the name Awakenings. This is the first day of 2026, and how fitting a day to begin a new channel and new intention. I don't like resolutions, they're bullshit. And I'm not going to take any credit for the questions that I will be sharing with you today and that I intend to try and answer for myself as we do this journey together. But first and foremost, I think it's really important we address these questions so that we can lead on our best foot with our intentions for 2026. So I'm starting off with my MAC foundation here. In the winter here in the Pacific Northwest, we get a lot of rain and a lot of clouds, and I turn high yellow. Moisturizer wise, I use shea butter. I just use shea butter. I'm too lazy to really look into what might be better. I know people say primer is everything, and I've gotten too lazy to use that because I just don't care. But I do like to use quality products. This is Merit. Love this stuff for the under eyes, and I get it in the color amber. And as you age, you really just want creamy products. So this is what and you don't want a lot, because it becomes plainly obvious that you are putting a lot of shit on your face. So where was I? There are going to be some questions I'm going to pose, not only to you, but also to myself. And I won't take credit for any of these questions because they were posed at the local spiritual center that I attended last week. And I love how the reverend there, and mind you, spiritual center doesn't mean religion. What it means is spiritual, because I'm more of a spiritual person and less a religious person. I've done the church, all that jazz, and in my additional videos down the road, you'll see more about my background and how I kind of came to this point in life where I hold the beliefs that I hold. So at the spiritual center, she posed about 5 questions, and they were pretty amazing. These questions hit hard. So as I go through my day today, January 1st, I will pose some of these questions and share with you some of my insights and answers that I have given for myself. But this is definitely not for me to answer here and now. I think I'm going to have to go through the process of answering them throughout the year. All right, so I'm just kind of filling in my brows here with a little bit of Anastasia. I am not an expert brow filler. This is not, don't come at me, because this is not for y'all to critique how I put my makeup on. I'm just sharing, y'all. I get them to a point where I'm happy with them. They're dark enough. I'm starting to see gray brows. I didn't know that was the thing. My parents didn't live to a ripe old age. My mother, she wasn't healthy to enough to share with me some of the kind of insights and discoveries that she had as she grew older. So I didn't really have the benefit of learning from her once I got to the point where I could have really utilized the knowledge. So I just had to kind of learn and play it by ear and learn from friends, learn from my own research. So where's my brush? I also need to wash these brushes, y'all. They kind of did. So next thing I do is go in on my wrist. Everything I kind of start with my wrist. And I go in with some MAC. What is this? This is the Fix It, but I also have this to wet my brush a little bit. This is Laura Geller. I kind of got this as a trial. Sorry, it's a little greasy and dirty. I got this as a trial product. It's powder, and I really liked it. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do, but it just kind of go over the cheek area because it adds a little redness and color to this area. I keep this part, the forehead, a little more yellow. I saw a video from a painter, and she actually applied the concept of color theory to her painting, to her face, and how she made up her face. She said more yellow at the top, a little more red around the eyes, and the darker portions at the bottom. And that's kind of the concept that I apply here, and it works for me. You know, I'm married. I don't need to hook a man. I just want to look decent and not crazy when I go out the door. So this is how I apply the makeup. At any rate, I used to contour, and I just realized I had a lot of shit on my face that I didn't need, and nobody cared. And so we stopped doing that, and I saved money. The next thing I'm gonna do is get a little bit of blush here, and it's kind of the same concept of the color theory. I got this NYX. It's like a dual color kind of stick. I also sometimes use NARS. I need glasses. I can't see. It's Fierce. This color is Fierce. I had a color analysis done, and based on my skin tone, I'm a high contrast face, and I'm a dark winter. So being a dark winter, the burgundies, not so much peach as more of a rose or rouge. Is it rouge? What color is this? I'm not even going to try and name this. What color is this? Fuchsia is a better color for me as a dark winter, but more of the darker tones kind of that has more black in it as opposed to just bright, because that's a bright winter color. But these colors work for me. And so I apply a little bit of this around my eyes. And then I do mix in a little peach. I don't know, force a habit, but I do that here lower. I keep my eyes a little darker. And then I take the Fix It again, put it on the hand here, wetting up my little blush brush, and I just kind of blend it in. I actually do the circle. If you do the circle, it's like the circle, then you don't look as crazy. And you kind of circle around so it doesn't look, it looks less intentional. I don't know what the word is, but you just get a nice round. I have a very round face, so I try and keep my color gradation towards the top and blend out with my foundation brush again. Looks really red up here, but trust me, as the day goes on, it tends to kind of mellow out a little bit, but it gives me the definition that I want here in my cheeks. And I like this kind of circle the eye kind of thing. Am I doing this in the right order? Probably not, but it gets me ready for the day in a way that makes me feel comfortable to go out. I might touch it up a little bit with some foundation. I always kind of wet that too with my MAC Fix It and just kind of go in, because it helps also with the under eye baggage situation. One thing I did forget is to brush my teeth. So I'm glad that this medium does not transfer probably the smells that are emanating from my mouth. So before I put on any type of lipstick, which I haven't quite decided what I'm gonna put on yet, sometimes I like to go just really dark. It's a little goth. If I do a neutral, I'll do this color right here. And I got this off of the internet. It's like a lip stain, but it's wonderful. It's ink velvet. What color is that? What? I need my glasses again. It's written in Korean, so I have no idea what this says. But this is the color. It's number 31. It's a great neutral. So once I brush my teeth, kind of get my hair situation together, I also need earrings. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Smells and tastes much better. All right, finishing touches have been made. Kind of blended in on the neck. Glasses back on. Good enough for me. Hey y'all. So I'm pretty much set for the day. This is my favorite room in the house. It's my dressing room. It used to be a cloffice, and then I just said, you know what? The kids are out of the house. I've got 2 extra rooms that I can do pretty much anything I want with. One of them became a dressing room. I gave my husband back his walk-in closet in the master bedroom. He had closets all over the house because I just completely overtook the master bedroom closet. So he's happy. He's slowly moving his things back in. And it's just a happy space. I'll cover this room in another video. But let's get back to the channel and the questions that I'm going to pose. What is an awakening, you ask? It's an awakening in the making. And these questions, I think, are essential in leading you and me into your awakening. Because with the awakening comes conscious co-creation. And conscious co-creation means that you are working with your higher self, with the universe, to create the reality that you want. And yes, I'm a firm believer in manifestation. And that requires some hard questions, which is why I'm really grateful that I was in a place at the time to hear the questions, because it really articulated things that were already percolating in my mind as well as I move into my next awakening. Because I've had several, and I'm sure you have as well, and perhaps you haven't identified it as such, but that's exactly what it is. It's another awakening in the making. Before we move forward, the first thing I gotta do, y'all, is have y'all peep the hat back here. Don't get it twisted.
Okay, Mom.
Basquiat.
Well, you're recording the landscape.
What? Is that wrong?
It's right.
Well, that was fun. That was fun, kids. We ended up going to the movie theater and watching nothing for 30 minutes while the screen froze. It was a 3D showing, and they couldn't fix the screen. So I just sat there eating my popcorn, and the guy came in. They were on the phone with customer service, and they finally got through when they finally told us we had to leave, because now we were displacing the other scheduled showings. And so we got a refund for our food and everything else. So I can't complain. And let me just tell you one of the coolest things that happened as we sat in line for our food. We weren't sitting, we were standing. A lady just walked up to me. I just placed, made my order for popcorn. And she said, well, here, take this. I got a $20 voucher for you because we just used all our vouchers. Oh my God. Thank you. It was such a sweet gesture. And we took it. And I only paid like $16 for food and beverage. Like, what a nice. Now I have to figure out a way that I can pay it forward. All right. So on to our regularly scheduled programming. Always got to be somebody falling out at the mall. Always an ambulance in the entrance of the mall. Okay. So first question is, what are you loosening or getting rid of? What have you identified that you need to get rid of this year? Take
My
steps
mother.
and get what?
The relationship with my mom.
Okay.
I need to become an adult.
Well, I would agree with
no
that.
longer talking to her.
I would agree with that.
No longer inviting her out to movies because I'm too scared to go to the movie theater alone.
Obviously, this highlights my need for friends. Where was I? Question 1. What do you find yourself saying? I don't need to hold on to that much longer. I'm a Fed, and that means federal employee. It's been a really rough 2025 for reasons that if you pay attention to the news, you know just as well as I that life has not been real friendly to us, and it forced me to realize that I can't depend on primary employment to fulfill me. But I do need to acknowledge certain things about being gainfully employed. Hallelujah. It gave me a certain sense of safety. It has provided me with abundance. I was a single mother for a while, and it gave me a safe and secure platform to continue to raise my kids. If anything, the experiences of 2025 have given me insight into understanding what I can release or what I really want to release without resentment. That's important. One of those things is the fear of standing here on a platform and bearing my soul to the public. It's a very vulnerable position to be in. It's not super comfortable, but it feels right. Next is, or number 2, is what is life asking for right now? There are many layers, I think, to that question. Mental, spiritual, creatively. For me, it's a return to my roots. It's more of returning to what I discovered early on in my spiritual journey. And that was meditation. That was intuitive readings. And also realizing that was a tradition that was in my family for decades. That was never quite discussed. Often run away from. But I found out because the universe wanted me to find out. Creatively, it's about using my stories to inspire others. Mentally, it's about being in alignment with my purpose, more so than I think I am right now, because I was just so about my hustle, just my day to day. Living up to my own integrity and my own truth is really about being in alignment, right? And what's that for you? Reaching midlife doesn't mean that you become someone new. It really is about a remembering of who you are, not were, who you are. Number 3 is what daily distractions are moving me away from my plans. What would a day look like if I didn't have those distractions? It would go a heck of a lot smoother. And that could be as simple as like doom scrolling, right? Getting up in the morning and instead of doing my meditation, just looking at my phone. It doesn't serve me. It's serving everybody else who's posting and looking for clicks and likes. If I just led my life, my day with intention and not allow the distractions to set in. It also brings up other questions within that question. Like, what am I willing to do to maintain that level of intention? And then on top of that, what is the discomfort that I'm trying to avoid by using those vices? That's something I have to think about. The most important aspect of question 3 is leading into answering those questions without judgment, without shame, and more in the spirit of self-inquiry. Shame is often embedded, well, to me personally, it's embedded in religion. Religion works because it keeps you ashamed, it makes you feel guilty, and you're always a sinner. You're born a sinner, right? You can't win without somebody else to lead you to salvation. At the end of the day, your awakening will lead you to your own salvation because only you can answer that question for you. Avoidance of that discomfort isn't laziness, it's informative. Number 4, it's gotten dark out, so I had to put my other light on up here. What practices anchor me as I go through this unfolding or this awakening? I don't want to call it tools for productivity. That's not what it is. I really want to focus on calling it anchors because that's what plots out the day. Meditation, rest, home cooking, exercise. It deserves reflection. It's a process of illumination and enlightenment. All of those things just from one choice to not do something can unravel a whole week. Ultimately, I realized that I don't need more clarity. I need more presence. Not presence, presence. And we made it to number 5, which is, maybe it's the hardest. What is the quiet vow I've set for myself for the year ahead? She asked that question and you just saw a lot of people just kind of do this. It's not about goals, right? Because remember, resolutions, no such thing as New Year resolutions. They set you up for failure. It's really about posture. Vows equal how you orient yourself in the world and your intent as you take on the world. I have a few example vows. I choose presence over performance. I move at the speed of trust. I honor what's alive in me. That's deep. She mentioned some ways to remember those vows that you set for yourself. Put it on your steering wheel. Never thought about that. Like a Post-it note or something. Write it on your mirror in rouge. Maybe put it on your phone lock screen. Or say it quietly to yourself before you have a meeting or give a presentation. Maybe write it as the opening line of your journal. I think for me, I like the phone lock screen idea. I think that's a good one because I'm always on my phone. Ultimately, this really answers the question, how are you going to open the door and face the world every day? It's really the core theme that she presented with this little mini workshop. And it was just us sitting in the pews with pen and paper. She highlighted that between Christmas and New Year's, it's like a liminal time. I wasn't really familiar with that word. It really means in between time. And that time between Christmas and New Year's is that kind of in between, waiting time where you're kind of waiting for the culmination of the year to come to an end, but you're also ready to invite all the things that you anticipate will be good in the new year. So with that, I appreciate you joining me as I put those out there and hope that maybe it can help you along 2026. We're in for a ride, but as long as we stay present and acknowledge everything that's going on within ourselves, we'll be okay. And with that, all together now, thanks for joining.